In this presentation, we're going to do an overview of Trackit 10.5, which is the latest release in the Numara Trackit product line. Today, we're going to cover the market issues behind Trackit 10.5, basic marketing message of the product, core value proposition, the themes, and then specifically the new features that you'll find in Trackit 10.5. So some of the market drivers behind Trackit in general. IT administrators are constantly feeling pressure to keep their costs down and maintain their service levels for their help desk. Most help desks are understaffed and overworked. You've now also got help desk staff in increasing numbers using smartphones and tablets to try and access their help desk work. You may have distributed environments or multiple buildings with your company or multiple locations, as well as if you're using the asset management features or you need the asset management features, you may have business requirements to keep records of those assets even after you retire them. You may also have requirements to track all email communications related to a work order. This is something that comes up quite often, where a user emails the help desk asking for some sort of help, and the help desk emails that person back asking for clarification. And sometimes communication gets lost there if the help desk technician is just using their email client to send those emails back and forth. And so Trackit is now able to keep track of all of that stuff within the work order. Another important point here is that Trackit 10.5 is not the end of the Trackit web product as it is today, or the end of the mobile product. This is one step in our multi-step approach to continuing to enhance the web product and the mobile product. So you're going to see some great things in the web product and the mobile product, and just the key point there is that that's just a taste of what's to come. And then another important aspect of this is that there are a lot of other mobile device products out there for help desk that are a lot more limited in functionality. You can't get to all the fields in a work order, or you can't complete the work order, or you can't maybe create new work orders. A lot of those applications are limited in functionality, which is different than what you're going to see in the Trackit mobile product. So a little bit on the Trackit messaging. Trackit is a proven product with over 50,000 customers and been around for almost 20 years. Very comprehensive of all the different modules that are in Trackit. You've got inventory, help desk, purchasing, training. We'll talk about some of those here in a moment. And cost effective. The amount of time that it takes you to take Trackit from a download to being installed and usable is very short. Probably 60 minutes or less, depending on your setup and how much you want to customize things. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But the main key points for Trackit are that it is a suite of features and modules that are really going to help every IT administrator get control of their help desk and their asset management, their software license management, change management if they require it. It's really meant to help the IT administrator organize their help desk and asset management functions. So, referred to this a moment ago, 0 to help desk in 60 minutes. So, Trackit you can download the Trackit product, and it can be installed on a single server for everything. If you have a simple environment, you don't have many servers, you're not going to have many users hitting the system, very simple to just install the Trackit server, the web server, and the database all on one machine, and off you go. Some customers are more sophisticated and like to segment their web server from their database server from their application servers. Trackit will support that type of installation as well. So either way, you decide. It's your decision. The entire installation process is going to take 30 minutes or less. If you have your own SQL Server already, the installation would be even shorter than that. If you don't have a SQL Server, we will install a free version of SQL Express for you during the installation to put the database on. That's going to take a little bit longer, but still the whole thing should complete in under 30 minutes. Trackit out of the box. This is a key important point here, is Trackit out of the box has all the core modules that you need to run your help desk and asset management functions. So there are several other add-ons that you can buy for Trackit, but the core of the product to get you going and get you started and start organizing the help desk is in the core product. The other modules are very key things that you can add on that give you enhanced functionality, but the key point is that the main modules you need to get your job done are included with the core product. So out of the box, you install the product. There's Active Directory and LDAP integration that allows you to import your users from your network. You can get those people import it into the system and set up quickly using that import. You can use the asset discovery and the audit features to scan your network and find all your IP connected devices, pull those things in, use the audit to detect the software and hardware on all the computers, and then that drives all of your assets and your software license management to keep track of the software licenses that you own and that you need to purchase. And then you can set up a couple lookup values like work order types and priorities, and you're ready to go. There is an additional piece there, the Track It Monitor and Track It Email pieces that you may want to set up. Those are great features because you can configure Track It to accept incoming emails and create work orders out of them. So that gives your end users a real easy way to submit work orders to your help desk. And you also want to set up the Track It email server in there to send out all the automated email notifications for work order events. So if somebody changes a work order or a work order becomes overdue or other types of notifications that need to go out, those can go out automatically via the email that's built into Track It. So here's a slide on the core modules that are in the product. So you've got your inventory for asset management, which involves auditing and asset discovery. We have software license management, purchasing to allow you to just track purchases that you make in IT, your help desk, of course, the solutions module, which allows you to build an internal solution knowledge base of common problems on your network, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel each time you find a problem. You can go back and search the solution database for common problems. Change management to help you control changes, network changes, additional hardware, modified hardware, security permissions, things that require you to go through a change control process if you use that at your organization. It's not required, of course, to use the product, but it is there if you need it. There's a training module to help you keep track of training that you send your IT people to, or that your users that work at your company go to. You can keep track of training courses and the grades that they receive and information about those. There's a library module which allows you to track things like loaner equipment. Maybe you have loaner laptops that you check out to people when they have a problem with their laptop or while they're waiting for a repair, or maybe you have guests that come to your office that need some hardware, need a laptop or an iPad or something. That's a great place to store that information and keep track of who's got it. The reporting module is something that helps you report on all the key metrics about your help desk and your assets. It's driven by Crystal Reports, an industry-leading reporting tool. There's a dashboard in the product which shows charts and graphs about all your key metrics. Those are customizable as well using the internal built-in tools there. There's an end-user self-service web portal to allow users to log into a website and view their work orders that they've submitted. They can view the status of their work orders. They can submit new work orders. They can search for solutions to their problems. It's a great self-service interface to try and take some of the stress off your help desk. Of course, the Track It Web for technicians is available, a web interface for your technicians to log in and see their work orders and do their work. That is in addition to the Windows client, which also comes with the product. It's not listed there, but the Windows client is the default client for Track It. And then the new Track It mobile web for technicians, which allows them to use an iPad or iPhone or Android device to connect to the help desk and work on their work. And then there's the available add-ons down there at the bottom: PC Migrate, Track It Remote, the industry knowledge packs, and Barcode. A couple quick details on those. PC Migrate is a way to back up and store user profiles, Windows user profiles of your users. So if someone needs a new computer, you can back up all their settings and documents and preferences and things from their system, back it up into a server location. Then when you set up their new computer, you can inject that user personality, they refer to it as, back into the new system, so all their preferences and settings and documents and things will be moved over automatically. And what that captures and what that re-injects into new machines is all configurable. Track It Remote is a way to allow your technicians to remotely connect to machines and run commands or walk users through a problem or through a solution. The industry knowledge packs is another great add-on that allows, that's a subscription that you can add to Track It, which shows common industry solutions for common software titles, Office titles, for example, the type of common problems and things that you may see in those products, those would then appear right in the Tracking Solutions module, right alongside your own solutions that you've created. And then Track It Barcode allows you to interface with a device scanner where you can scan and barcode all your assets at your company to do a physical inventory of your assets, and that interfaces then with Trackit and pulls that data into the inventory as well, so you can reconcile it with the scanned data that you've pulled in using the asset discovery and the audit. So that's just a little bit about the core modules and the add-ons available. And there's a screenshot of the new mobile web or the new mobile device interface that we'll see here in a little bit. And here we go. New for Trackit 10.5 is the Trackit Mobile. So Trackit Mobile was designed to provide the same easy-to-use Trackit experience, but on a mobile device interface. So obviously it's designed specifically for the mobile screen, supports iPad, iPhone, and Android tablets and smartphones. You can view lists of work orders. You can have full access to all the fields in the work order. You can create new work orders. You can edit existing work orders. You can add resolutions and close your work orders. You can make copies. You can delete them. You can add linked assignments to work orders. You can add detailed notes and resolutions to them. You can view the status of change requests in this product. You can also use the keyword search to search for work orders and solutions. And it also has its own integrated mobile formatted help documentation. So when you tap on that help link, you get a help documentation system specifically for the mobile device interface, and it's formatted for that smaller screen as well. And the view you're seeing there in that screenshot is a list of work orders as they would appear on that mobile device screen, and you just tap on one of those to go into it and take a look at it. So we're going to show you a few more screenshots for the mobile interface. So this would be the login screen that you would see when you first log in. And notice there's a link there to visit the full site. So if you're on a tablet and this screen comes up, you can either use the mobile device interface here, or you can flip over and use the full Trackit web interface, because with the tablet with the larger screen, you could use the full web if you prefer. So here's the list of the different types of views that you can select from the help desk. And it shows you some counts there next to some of those, so you can see quickly how many work orders you have in those particular areas. You'll notice that there are views related to the technician who's logged in, related to their work order assignments at the top, and then just generally all work order views at the bottom there. So if you tap on one of those, you'll get a list of work orders corresponding to that view. And that's what you're seeing here. So if you tapped on the All Work Orders link on the left, which is just off the bottom of the screen on that left screenshot, then you would get a list of work orders here on the right. Then you can tap on one of those work orders and go into it to edit those fields. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. Here's a look at the solutions search. So if you do a search for solutions, you would get a list of the available solutions. You can tap on those and look at them. And here's the list of, this is actually a detail of one of those solutions. So if you tap on a solution, this is how it would come up, and you can read it. And then here's a look inside the work order itself. So if you tapped on a work order to edit, you'll see there's a general tab which has all the fields that are in the work order that you can edit. And then the notes tab will bring up all the notes, description, resolution, information. And you can also view your assignments and attachments and any change management policies that might be in effect for that work order as well. So you can see you can access every single field within the work order right there in the mobile device screen. Let's talk about some of the other enhancements that are in Trackit 10.5. We've got a Retire Assets feature that we are introducing here, which allows you to retire assets that you have in your inventory, maintaining those records for record-keeping purposes or tax purposes or compliance purposes, depending on your industry. But what it does as well is it frees up your audit and remote licenses for those assets so that you can use those for the new assets that you purchase to replace those. So let's say you have 100 audit licenses you bought with Trackit, and all of a sudden you're going to swap out 25 of those machines and retire them and replace them with new ones. Well, you can very easily now retire 25 of those machines and free up your audit licenses for them. And when you then introduce your new machines, you can use those audit licenses to audit and remote control those new machines. So the email conversation management feature is the one I touched on a little while ago, where we are now keeping track of all email communication that occurs in a work order. So if an end user logs a work order and a technician says, I want to notify that end user and ask them a question, they can click an email requester button, type in a message to that requester and hit send, and that message is stored in Trackit and then sent out by the Trackit server. So this does a couple of things. It keeps a record of that communication. It also eliminates the need for an email client on the end user's computer. So the end user could be using any kind of email client. They could be using GroupWise, Lotus Notes, Gmail, whatever it is, or they may not even have an email client installed on their machine. But if they log into Trackit and click on Email Requester and send an email right there in the Trackit help desk to the requester, the Trackit server will go ahead and send that out. So it simplifies the configuration of the technician's computer and also keeps track of all of that email communication in the work order, so you have a whole history of communications for it. So now when the end user receives the work order from that technician, the end user can then reply to that work order. That reply will come back to Trackit, and Trackit will read that and insert that back into the work order as well. So complete tracking of the entire email conversation between the technician and the requester. We've also, in Trackit 10.5, updated the Trackit Remote components. So if that is a feature that you're interested in using, there have been some updates to improve the support and performance on newer platforms like Windows 7 and Windows 2008. And then with any release, we always fix some defects that customers have reported. So we're always trying to improve the product and improve the usability and supportability. And so every release we do, we always make sure to, if there are any issues that have been reported by customers, we go ahead and take care of those as well. So now we're going to jump into an overview of the product. We've looked at some of the specific features. I'm just going to give you another overview here of the actual product functionality itself. So you're looking at the main Trackit window when you first log in. You see the home page there, and it shows a couple of graphs that are pulled from the dashboard. You can customize which graphs show up there by clicking the Change View link at the top right of each one of those. The announcements panel down at the bottom right, you can type in some announcements there and hit save, and those will show up in the self-service module and in the Trackit Technician web module for your users. So you can put announcements in there, like for this example, they're saying make sure you shut down and log out of your machine because we're doing some maintenance tonight. So that's anytime you have an announcement like that that you want to get out to everybody, you can go ahead and enter that here. And then we also have some other asset-related and barcode-related stats that show up over here on the left, depending on which features you're using. And you can see a list of all the modules on the left. Very familiar, easy to navigate Outlook-style interface. Jump right into the inventory module here. You're seeing the main inventory module in the background, and then one of those computers opened on the screen, so you can see the details within it. And you can see there's hardware, software, file information, who it's assigned to, its location, its department, and you can track serial numbers in there and product names and all kinds of good stuff about the assets on your network. Now this view is just an example to show you from the Trackit web interface a computer opened up in that screen as well. So if you prefer to use the web browser version of Trackit, the web version of Trackit, this is showing you that you can log in and view all the same type of information in the browser that you could in the Windows client. And some important things to point out here in the browser: we did a lot of usability studies and listened to user feedback about how people fill out work orders on a help desk. So you'll notice any of these web screens that you see, all the data entry fields that you're going to be filling out when you're filling out a work order or when you're entering a new workstation manually, if you decide to do that, all the data entry type fields are all listed down the left-hand side. And they're all organized into these little sections that we call portlets. And these little portlets can be minimized or dragged around and the order changed, so you can customize the view of that screen, and that can be done per user. So each user, when they log into the web, can modify that screen and make it how they want it to look there. But this was just an example to show you the web interface and what it looks like compared to the Windows interface. And the web interface screens are all very consistent as far as their usability and their look and feel. So this inventory screen here with a computer on your screen is all the data entry fields on the left, other information that may be important to you in the tabs on the right, and you'll notice a similar look and feel to that when we get into the help desk module as well. So here's a quick look at the Retire Assets feature. You'll notice there's a new Retire Assets button that appears on the toolbar there. We can retire assets one at a time, or you can multi-select 100 assets and retire them all at once. And when you do that, it's going to ask you what you want to do with some of the equipment that's assigned there. And this is just a list of some things that were assigned to the particular example that we were retiring here. And they are items. They're the type of things that can be reassigned to other computers later on. So we give you the option to transfer those items out into a holding area, which we call unassigned equipment, so that you can reallocate them to other assets. Because if you don't move those items out, the asset, when you retire it, becomes read-only, and it becomes a record just for record-keeping purposes. So this is just a quick look there at the asset retirement feature. And you'll notice there's a new view in the inventory now called All Retired Assets. So as soon as you retire a machine or any kind of asset, it'll show up here in the Retired Assets view and not in any of the other views. And you'll notice that we also keep track of the date and time it was retired and who retired the asset. This is a quick look at software license management. So once you've done your scans and your audits of all your machines that we looked at there in the inventory a moment ago, you can then tag product keys and serial numbers and start tracking the number of licenses you own and how many are assigned and how many are assets you have that don't have a license. So the audit drives all of this information and can log work orders or send you email notifications to let you know when you're under licensed or over licensed or what the case may be, depending on the rules that you set up. So that really helps you get a handle on your software licensing in your organization. So this is just kind of a quick look at it. The example there being the Microsoft Office suite there that is in the screenshot. And this screen is in the Windows client. Currently the web version of TrackIt only has the inventory module, the help desk module, and the solutions module. And these other modules, software license management, some of those other ones are going to be coming in future versions. Here's the help desk in the Windows client. So you can see the browse view here of all the work orders and the different types of functions you can perform on the left. Here's a work order opened up, so you can see what the work order looks like, and you can customize the order of all of these tabs. You can move these tabs from the left side to the right side. You can change the layout of the tabs for a new work order versus a work order that you're editing, depending on how you like to see those screens. Maybe you like to see certain fields when you add a new work order by default, but you want to see other fields by default when you're editing a work order or when you're reviewing existing work orders. So you can change the layout of those tabs and save those according to that preference. And here's a view of the help desk from the web. So again, the new web look and feel. And here's the work order in the web. So you'll notice it looks similar to the workstation that we were looking at in the inventory module a moment ago, with all the data entry fields down the left and the other tabs and related information on the right. And these are the work order notes you'll see on the right. So real quickly, you'll run down through the left-hand side and enter the different details about the ticket, who the work order is from and what the basic problem is and their contact information and who's assigned. And then on the right, you'll enter a note about exactly what type of problem this is and with more details. And we keep track of the types of notes you have on the right there, the type of note it is, and who entered it and the date and time. So a lot of great information gets stored there to help you do your work on the help desk. And now here's email conversation management. This feature is available in the Windows client and in the web client. So you'll see when you click on the email requester or email technician buttons up there in the top toolbar of the work order, this dialog box will come up and allows you to fill out basically an email message that ends up getting stored in TrackIt. So this email message, this dialog box, is part of the TrackIt product, and it is not related to your local email client on your workstation. This is a TrackIt window, and the to and CC fields you can fill out there. There's also even a blind carbon copy field. You can fill out those addresses, and then if you check the box down at the bottom there, the circle that says save email addresses as default for this work order, Trackit will actually store those email addresses now, those additional CC and BCC addresses. It'll store those with that particular work order, so any future notifications that you send out about that work order will continue to carbon copy or blind carbon copy those people that you've added. We've also added the option on the right now to preview what the email is going to look like. So if you click on that preview button, it's going to take the outbound email template that's defined for Trackit and the email message that you've typed in the message box there, and it's going to combine that message into the outbound template and show you what the end resulting email is going to look like for the user when they get it. Now, if you don't like the default template that gets sent out with emails, and when I say a default template, what I mean is Trackit's configured to include other information about the work order besides just that email message that you're typing. So it'll include things like the work order number and the summary and the priority and the due date and some other key pieces of information about the ticket, so that when you're typing a message to the user, you don't have to say, hey Joe user, I'm writing you about work order 12345. Remember the one that you reported about your printer not working? You don't have to type that. You just type the question that you have for the user, and the template will automatically include all that other information with the email. And you can customize that template. So right here on the right, you can click the template button, and if you have admin access to Trackit, it will actually bring up the template definition screen where you can customize exactly how you want those outbound emails to look. Then you can save the template, and then you can click preview again, and it will again construct the email and show it to you in a little preview window with your email message that you've typed along with all those template fields. So a really great way to fine-tune your outbound email template and get it just the way you like it. And just as a point of clarification, we have an option to email the end user, the person who requested the ticket, and you can also email the technician who's assigned to the ticket. So maybe your boss goes in and opens up the ticket and wants to send you an email from here. They can click email technician. The technician emails and the requester emails have different templates. So for your end users, you may only want to have the summary and the type. You may want to have a very simple template. And for the technician emails, you may want to have a more advanced template that has a lot more details. You have the flexibility to change those how you like. And then last, the private checkbox there. If the private checkbox is checked, that just means that that note, when it's then stored in the email, the end users in self-service will not see that note. So by default, that's turned off for requesters and turned on for technician notes, but you can toggle that however you like. So that's email conversation management. Here's an example of what these emails look like when they actually get stored in the work order, and you'll see that it actually shows now the type of message. So you don't just have work order descriptions and resolutions anymore. You have these other types of notes called email messages, and you have a requester email message. The bottom circled one there is the message that came in from the requester, and then the top one that says email message received. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that backwards. So the bottom one there is a requester email message. That is the message that was sent by the help desk technician to that end user requester. And it says email, see it says requester email message, and it has the date sent there. And then the email message received, the top one, is what the end user who received the email sent back in to the help desk, and it was captured and read back into that work order. So now a little bit about the solutions module. This works hand in hand with your help desk, so over time you can build this solutions database with your help desk technicians and really store all the typical types of problems that you run into on your network or with your users. And this solution database is keyword searchable, so you can always search through here to try and find solutions to problems on your network. So if a user calls in and says, hey, I'm getting this error on my screen, and you know you've seen that error before, but you just can't quite remember it, you can use the keyword search in here to search for solutions that may have that documented, or even prior work orders where the help desk technician that resolved the problem before logged the details about how they fixed it. Another important thing to point out here, solutions have a public and private checkbox as well. And so if you mark a solution private, it means that only technicians will be able to see it in the main technician part of Trackit or in the technician web. and the end users using the web self-service will not be able to see those solutions if you mark them private. Change management, again, another great module in Trackit. Not required to be used if you're not that sophisticated yet, but if you are sophisticated enough to where you do have change management policies in effect, this is a great tool for you to use. So here's a great example. Salesperson here logged a work order and said they need to purchase a new laptop because theirs died, and so that automatically triggered a change management policy to go into effect. And the policy here then fired off emails to these approvers down at the bottom. And this particular change management policy in this demo example here, you'll notice it says policy type sequential. So it's notifying each of the users, each of the approvers down at the bottom in order. And once the first person approves, then an email will go to the second and then to the third and so on. And you can set it up to be a simultaneous approval to where it sends it to everyone at one time, and then the first person that approves it will mark the change request as approved. That's an option as well. So if you have, say, a committee where only one person needs to approve, that would work. If it's something where everyone must approve, you can do one of these sequential type of change requests. And there's the homepage dashboard again. We talked about that a few minutes ago. You'll notice if you look on the left toolbar there's a dashboard button down second from the bottom. If you go into that dashboard, there are a ton more graphs and charts and pivot tables and things that are in that dashboard module itself. This home page draws its charts at the top from the dashboard module. So if you click the change view link at the top of this of each of these graphs here on this home page, you'll get the option to go and pick which dashboard views you want to see. And if you want to see all the dashboard views and play around with them and look at the different stats, you can go into the dashboard itself and look at those in more detail. Of course, Trackit reporting, we mentioned that a moment ago. So this is a screenshot of all you can see in the background. There's a list of all the reports there from the help desk module, and there are reports for inventory and software licensing and change management as well. That's just a listing of some of the help desk reports in the background, along with a preview of one of the reports as it would preview in your screen. Here's a quick screenshot of the Trackit self-service web portal. This is something that people like to see. They want to see what the users are going to see on their network when they log in and go to self-service. So you'll notice they can search for solutions, so they can search your knowledge base for public solutions to problems. They can add a new work order. They can view the status of their work orders. If they are a change approver, they will see that View My Requests for Change button. If they are not a change approver and they do not have change requests, they will not see that link. And then there's a Manage My Profile button down there at the bottom. So if they click on that, they can see their, all their contact information as you have it listed in Trackit. They cannot modify any of it. That is all under the control of IT. The only thing they can change there is they could change their password for self-service if they want to change their password or reset that. Other than that, the rest of the information is for read-only purposes. And the announcements that we talked about earlier, there's the announcements as they would appear to the end users in the self-service portal. And of course on the top you'll see it says demo user. That's the person I was logged in as when I made this screenshot. It says, hey, demo user, welcome to the user self-service center. That would have the name of the company that's in your license. So it would have the person's name, and then it would say welcome to ABC Company Self-Service Center. It would have the name of the company who the product is licensed to up there. So that's the web portal. And some additional resources. If you're looking for more information on Trackit, you can visit this numarasoftware.com/Trackit link, and it's TRACK-IT. And we also have a downloadable demo, which you can just add a / and the word download to that, and that'll take you to the demo download page. If you just want to take the new web or the new mobile device product for a test drive, you can just go to demo.trackit.com, and that will take you to a login screen for the Trackit web and the Trackit mobile web interfaces. And if you access that link from your smartphone, it'll automatically detect your device and bring up the screen that is rendered for mobile device browsers. So I hope that this overview of Trackit has been helpful to you today, and I hope that you find more information if you need it on these links. And thank you for watching.